Hey, buddy, hit that subscribe. Just a sec for you, but it means the world to me. The old grandfather clock in my study blinked 3:47 a.m., that dead zone hour, when nothing good ever happens. At 72, you don't even hope for good news anymore. You brace yourself. My phone buzzed on the desk, screen glowing like it had bad intentions. Blocked number. Yeah, that already felt messed up. I hesitated. My hand shook a little. Arthritis, age, fear, who knows? When I answered, I didn't say hello right away. I just listened. At first, there was nothing. Then I heard breathing. Ragged. Cold. Like someone who'd been running or hiding too long. Then a voice cracked through the silence. Dad. My stomach dropped straight through the floor. Dad, please, the voice whispered. Open the door. I'm freezing. Every nerve in my body went ice cold. I knew that voice. I'd heard it since scraped knees and bedtime stories, since teenage arguments and awkward apologies. Thomas. I croaked. Saying his name felt illegal. Is that you? The line went dead. I just sat there, phone still pressed to my ear, staring at nothing. My son had been dead for 4 years. 4 years, 3 months, and 16 days, yeah, I counted. You don't stop counting when your kid disappears into black water and never comes back. They said it was an accident. Boating. Lake Superior. Rough currents. Case closed. They found his jacket, his wallet, his shoes. But not him. And now he was calling me, asking me to open the door. I told myself it had to be grief, finally snapping something loose in my brain. Old men lose it sometimes, right? But then I heard it. A knock. Soft. Careful. Like whoever was on the other side didn't want to scare me. Dad. The voice came again, muffled through the wood. Please. Against every ounce of logic. I stood up. The floor was freezing under my bare feet as I shuffled toward the front door. My heart was pounding so loud, I swear it echoed in the hallway. I put my hand on the deadbolt and just stood there, breathing hard, telling myself not to be stupid. Then I unlocked it. The porch light flicked on, cutting through the rain, and there he was, a young man, soaked head to toe, shaking like he might fall apart. Dark hair plastered to his forehead. Too thin, too tired. And no, it wasn't Thomas. But damn if it didn't feel close enough to hurt. Same sharp cheekbones. Same eyes. Just younger. Late 20s, maybe. When he looked at me, something in his expression wasn't confusion. It was recognition. I'm sorry, he said, voice breaking. I didn't know where else to go. They're looking for me. I didn't mean to scare you. Who are you? I asked, my voice sounding distant even to me. He swallowed hard, rain dripping from his chin. My name's Ethan, he said. Ethan Morrison. And I think I'm your grandson. That word hit harder than any punch I'd ever taken. Before I could say anything, he added something that made my blood run cold. Before anything else, he said quickly, eyes darting past me into the darkness. Tell me, where are you watching this from right now? And what time is it there? I just need to know I'm not alone. I didn't ask questions. I stepped aside. Inside, he collapsed onto the entryway floor like his body finally gave up. I wrapped him in blankets, shoved a mug of hot tea into his shaking hands. My brain was racing, trying to catch up with reality. A grandson? Thomas never mentioned a kid. But truth is, Thomas hadn't told me a lot of things. When Ethan finally caught his breath, he looked straight at me and said, I didn't even know about my father until 6 months ago. And that's when I realized this wasn't just some late-night scare. This was the beginning of something dark, something buried, something that had already gotten people killed. And when Ethan finally said the names Vanessa and Marcus, I felt it in my gut. My son didn't die in an accident, and whoever killed him might already be watching my house. Ethan sat on my couch like a ghost wrapped in blankets, hands locked tight around the mug of tea, like it was the only thing keeping him alive. Steam drifted between us, but the room still felt cold, heavy, the kind of cold that settles when the truth is about to crawl out of the shadows. You said you didn't know about your father. I finally said. Start from there. He nodded, jaw tight. My mom, Rebecca Morrison, she died last year. Cancer. Near the end, she started talking like she was running out of time because she was... He swallowed. That's when she told me the truth. The man who raised me wasn't my real dad. My chest tightened. She said my real father was named Thomas Bennett. Ethan continued quietly, and that he died before I was born. I didn't say anything. I couldn't. Hearing my son's name from a stranger, no, from my grandson, felt unreal, like the universe was glitching. They met in Thunder Bay. Ethan said, summer of 2000. She worked in a marina. He was there with friends. It wasn't some long love story, just a few weeks. But it mattered. When she found out she was pregnant, Thomas was already gone. Phone disconnected. No forwarding address. Nothing. Thunder Bay. My mind snapped back to that summer. Thomas had called me more that year than any other. Sounded lighter. Happier. I thought it was the wilderness doing him good. Turns out it was Rebecca. She tried to find him, Ethan said, but eventually she gave up. Married someone else. Raised me thinking that man was my dad. His voice cracked. I didn't find out any of this until she was dying. Why keep it secret? I asked. Ethan laughed bitterly. Her husband was controlling. Real piece of work. Made her promise never to tell me. Even after he died, she still stayed quiet. Maybe she was ashamed. Or scared. Or maybe she was protecting me. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a photo, edges warped from water damage. When he handed it to me, my breath caught. Thomas stood on a dock, arm around a blonde woman, both of them laughing like the world hadn't taught them pain yet. I hadn't seen that version of my son in years. That's her, Ethan said softly. Rebecca. She kept this hidden, he continued, along with letters Thomas sent her that summer, until one day he just stopped. I knew exactly why. That fall, Thomas met Vanessa. Smart, beautiful, connected. She swept him up fast, and everything else vanished, apparently including a woman and an unborn child. You said someone's looking for you. I said, who? Ethan's face drained of color. Vanessa, he said, and her brother, Marcus. The room went dead silent. Vanessa had been Thomas's fiancée, the woman who cried at his funeral, the woman who handled his estate like a pro while I could barely stand upright. You're saying Vanessa is hunting you? I asked slowly. I didn't think so at first, Ethan said. I just wanted answers. I tracked her down, told her who I was. She acted shocked but interested, invited me to Toronto, said she had things of Thomas's that belonged to me. My stomach twisted. And everything fell off, he said. She kept asking what my mom told me, what proof I had. Her brother Marcus was there too, watching, always watching. Ethan leaned forward, voice dropping. I overheard them one night. Vanessa said, if he finds out what really happened, everything falls apart. And Marcus said, then we handle him the same way we handled Thomas. My heart slammed. You're saying... Thomas didn't die in an accident, Ethan said. They killed him, and now they want me gone too. I want to call it paranoia, trauma, fear talking. But something in Ethan's eyes, something too real, too terrified, stopped me. I ran, he continued, climbed out a window and disappeared. Been off the grid for 6 months. Cash only. No addresses. No patterns. And still they keep finding me. He looked straight at me. That's why I came here. Because you're the only one who might believe me. Then he reached into his jacket again and placed a small USB drive on the table. My mom didn't just keep letters, he said. She kept recordings. Voicemails Thomas left her. And in the last one, he said he found something about Vanessa's family. Something big. I stared at the drive like it might explode. Ethan whispered, I think whatever my father discovered is what got him killed. And when I finally plugged that USB into my old laptop, I realized my son hadn't just uncovered a secret. He'd uncovered something powerful people would kill to bury. The laptop hummed to life like it had been waiting for this moment. Dust coated the keys. The screen dimmer than I remembered, but it still worked. Funny how some things refuse to die, especially the truth. Ethan hovered beside me. eyes locked on the screen. "That thing still runs?" he asked. Thomas used to say machines were more loyal than people. I muttered. The screen asked for a password. I tried the obvious stuff first. Thomas's birthday. Nope. His middle name. Nothing. I sat back, frustrated, then something hit me. A memory. A summer. A name. I typed Rebecca 2000. The screen unlocked. Ethan sucked in a sharp breath. He never forgot her, he whispered. The desktop was obsessively organized. Folders labeled by year, by topic. Classic Thomas. I clicked one marked personal. 2004. Inside were dozens of journal files, all dated, all time-stamped. The closer we got to August, the more frantic they became. My hands started shaking as I opened one. August 3rd, 2004, 11:47 p.m. I can't believe what I found. Thomas wrote about searching for Vanessa's birth certificate in her father's study, a locked cabinet, documents that didn't belong there. A case from 1989, a wrongful death lawsuit involving a pharmaceutical company. The judge, Vanessa's father. The ruling, in favor of the company. The catch, bank transfers. $500,000. 3 months before the trial. I felt sick. Ethan leaned closer as I kept reading. Their entire lifestyle, the house, the money, the connections, it's all built on blood money. My son had uncovered corruption that went all the way to the bench. Another entry. August 10th, 2004, 2:33 a.m. I confronted Vanessa. She didn't deny it. Said her father did what he had to do. Said the girl would have died anyway. My jaw clenched. When I said I couldn't marry into this, her face changed. Cold. She said her family would destroy me if I tried to expose it. Then Marcus showed up. Marcus. Even through text, I could feel the menace. He suggested a boat trip. Said it might clear my head. Ethan looked at me, eyes wide. That's when they decided, he said. I scrolled to the last entry. August 15th, 2004, 10:12 p.m. I've made copies. I'm going to the authorities tomorrow. If anything happens to me, the truth is hidden at the old fishing camp on the north shore of Lake Superior. Coordinates included. I stopped reading. My chest felt tight, like someone had wrapped wire around my lungs. He knew, I said quietly. He knew they'd kill him. 3 days later, Thomas went out on the lake alone. 3 days later, my son disappeared. Ethan broke the silence. So it wasn't an accident. No, I said, feeling something sharp replace the grief I'd lived with for 4 years. It was an execution. Rain slammed against the windows, sudden and violent. Every sound made Ethan flinch. He looked like a hunted animal, because he was... We go to the police. I said, with what? Ethan shot back. A 20-year-old journal and a voicemail? Her family owns half the justice system. He wasn't wrong. After Thomas died, Vanessa handled everything. Funeral, estate, his apartment. I'd been too broken to question it. She erased him. I whispered, piece by piece. I stood up, joint screaming, but my mind was clearer than it had been in years. We're not running. I said, we're finishing what my son started. Ethan hesitated. And if they come for us? I looked at my grandson, Thomas's blood, his eyes, his fire. Then they picked the wrong house. By sunrise, we were on the road to Lake Superior, heading straight toward the place my son hid the truth, and straight into the danger that killed him. We left before sunrise, the sky still bruised purple and gray. No highways, no stops, just back roads and long stretches of silence. I drove my old truck like it still owed me something, knuckles white on the wheel. Ethan kept checking the mirrors, paranoia written all over his face. But after what we learned, I couldn't blame him. If Marcus had followed my son once, he could do it again. Lake Superior showed up like a bad memory you never really forget. Massive, cold, dead, quiet in a way that felt wrong. The fishing camp sat miles off the main road, swallowed by trees like the forest was trying to erase it. This is it, I said. The lodge had collapsed years ago. Roof caved in. Windows gone. Nature had taken its pound of flesh. But the cabin Thomas wrote about, barely standing, was still there. Crooked door, rotting floorboards, animal tracks everywhere. We stepped inside. The smell hit first. Damp wood, mold, time. I moved straight to the stone fireplace. My hands shook as I counted. 1, 2, third stone. I pulled. Behind it was a hollow space. Inside, wrapped in plastic like a secret meant to survive, was a thick envelope. I opened it slowly, like I was afraid the truth might bite. Bank statements, court transcripts, handwritten notes, payment schedules, proof of tampering, evidence so clean it hurt to look at. Ethan exhaled. This is enough. This ruins him. Corruption, yeah, I said, but not murder. We needed more. That's when I heard a sound outside. Footsteps. Ethan froze. His eyes met mine, wide, panicked. I held up a finger, heart slamming. The steps stopped. A shadow passed a broken window. Then silence. We didn't breathe for a full minute. They followed us, Ethan whispered. Maybe, I said, or maybe they want us to think they did. We left fast. No celebration. No victory laps. Just survival mode. Back home, we made our move. I contacted a journalist. Real one, not some blog chaser. Gave her copies. Told her everything. Asked her to sit on it until I gave the word. Then I made the call. Vanessa answered like she always had. Smooth, controlled. Mr. Bennett. What a surprise. I need to see you, I said. Tonight, something about Thomas. A pause. Just long enough. Of course, she said. Should Marcus come? Yes. Silence again. We'll be there at 8. We spent the afternoon setting traps. Ethan's phone hidden on the shelf. Recording. Escape plan mapped. Doors unlocked. Lights positioned. At exactly 8 they arrived. Vanessa in a tailored suit. Marcus in a leather jacket. Eyes scanning like a predator. He didn't sit. Stayed near the door. I found my grandson, I said. Vanessa's face drained. Ethan stepped forward. That's when Marcus moved. He lunged for Ethan, fast and vicious. I stepped between them. Old bones but solid. He hesitated just long enough. Vanessa snapped, stop. Marcus froze. I want the truth, I said. About my son. Marcus laughed, sharp and ugly. He wouldn't drop it, he growled. So I made sure he did. Vanessa whispered, Marcus. I followed him onto the lake, he said. Made it look clean. An accident. The words hung there. Heavy. Final. Ethan backed toward the door, phone in hand. You just confessed. Sirens wailed. The journalist hadn't waited. Chaos exploded. Marcus grabbed Ethan. I went down hard, trying to help. But Ethan fought like his father. Knee to the gut. He ran. Police flooded in. Vanessa collapsed. Marcus screamed as they cuffed him. Justice took its time, but it came. Marcus got life. Vanessa got 20. The judge's legacy burned down with them. Now Ethan lives in Thomas's old room, studying law, carrying his father's fire forward. Some nights, we sit on the porch and talk about Thomas, not how he died, but how he lived. And for the first time in years, the lake doesn't haunt my dreams. But justice always has a price. I'll tell you what they tried to do to us after the arrests. Because some secrets don't go quiet, you'd think once the cuffs clicked shut and the sirens faded, it would all be over. Bad guys caught. Case closed. Roll credits. Yeah, real life doesn't work like that. The night Marcus and Vanessa were arrested, reporters camped outside my house like vultures. Cameras. Questions. Strangers yelling my name like they knew me. Ethan and I stayed inside, lights off, watching shadows move across the curtains. That's it, right? Ethan asked. They can't touch us now. I wanted to believe that, but I'd lived long enough to know power doesn't die easy. 2 days later, the first warning came. A black sedan parked across the street. Engine running. Windows tinted. Sat there for almost an hour. When I stepped outside to take a picture, it rolled away slow, like it wasn't scared of being seen. Then my phone rang. Blocked number. I answered without thinking. No voice, just breathing. The same damn breathing Ethan had described months ago. They still have people, I said when I hung up. Friends. Fixers. Folks who clean messes. That's when the pressure started. Anonymous letters calling us liars. Lawsuits threatening everything I owned. Online articles questioning Ethan's identity, claiming he was a con artist chasing inheritance money. Someone even tried to break in the house one night. Left when the alarm screamed, but the message was clear. Ethan snapped one evening. "This is my fault," he said. "If I'd stayed gone." I cut him off. "No, this ends with us standing, not hiding." The journalist stuck to her word. She published everything. Full documents. Audio. Confession. The public went wild. Judges resigned. Investigations spread like fire. People who'd been untouchable for decades suddenly started sweating. That's when Vanessa made her last move. From jail. Her lawyer requested a private meeting. "Just me. She wants to apologize," he said. I laughed. Hard. "She wants to negotiate." I went anyway. She looked smaller behind the glass. No designer suit. No control. Just anger wrapped in regret. "You ruined everything," she said. "No," I replied. "Your family did." She leaned in, dropped the civil cases, convinced the press to move on, and I'll make sure Ethan is safe. I stood up. "You killed my son," I said calmly. "You don't get to bargain." Her smile vanished. That night, Ethan found something hidden in Thomas's old laptop, a backup folder we'd missed. Inside, emails, dates, names, payments, a network, bigger than we thought. "This goes past them," Ethan said. "Yeah," I replied, "and now we finish it." We handed everything over. More arrests followed, more trials. The house finally went quiet. Months later, Ethan got his acceptance letter to law school. He taped it to the fridge like a kid. Thomas would have loved that. Some nights, I still wake up at 3:47 a.m. expecting the phone to ring, but it never does anymore, because the truth is out, and the dead don't need to call when justice finally speaks to them. By the time the world finally quieted down, I thought there were no more surprises left. Trials wrapped. Headlines moved on. Power players fell. Life, somehow, started acting normal again. That's when Ethan found the folder. Not hidden deep, not encrypted, just sitting there like Thomas wanted it to be found last. The file name said it all. "Dad, read this." Ethan didn't open it alone. He waited for me. We sat side by side in the living room, the same room where all of this started. Same chair, same clock. The time read 3:12 a.m., close enough to feel intentional. The file wasn't long, just a video. Thomas appeared on the screen, older than I remembered, tired, eyes sharp but sad. He took a breath before speaking, like he knew this might be the last time. "Dad, if you're watching this, then I didn't make it." My chest tightened. "I'm sorry I didn't tell you everything. I thought I could handle it myself. Thought I could protect you by staying quiet." He gave a small, broken smile. Turns out I was wrong. He talked about Rebecca, about the summer, about the child he never got to meet. "I think his name might be Ethan," he said softly. "If you ever meet him, please don't repeat my mistake. Don't let him stand alone." Ethan wiped his eyes fast, like he was mad they were there at all. Thomas leaned closer to the camera. "If this all comes out, if the truth finally breaks through, then it was worth it. Some people don't deserve silence. They deserve daylight." The video ended. We sat there, neither of us speaking. The clock ticked loud enough to feel rude. "He knew," Ethan finally said. "He knew he'd die. And he did it anyway." I replied, "That's who your father was." Life didn't magically turn perfect after that. Grief doesn't vanish just because justice shows up late, but it changes shape. It hurts quieter. Ethan moved forward. Law school, long nights, big purpose. He fights for people who don't have money or power, the exact kind of people Thomas was trying to protect. As for me, I finally sleep. Not every night, but enough. Sometimes we sit on the porch and talk about Thomas. Not his death But his bad jokes, his stubborn streak, the way he always believed doing the right thing mattered, even when it cost everything. And maybe that's the real ending. Not revenge, not closure, but legacy. If something feels wrong, don't ignore it. If you find the truth, don't confront evil. Expose it. And if you lose someone fighting for what's right, make sure their voice doesn't die with them.